Hello, friends. Welcome to today's show. I'm Dr. Helen, founder and Chief Engagement Officer, or CEO, of Dr. Helen Holton and Associates, and your host of Dr. Helen Speaks, Strengths, Resilience, and Leadership, because that's the business that we're in. Thank you for joining us today. We don't take it lightly, not for 1 second. There are so many other places you could be doing something different right now, and we're glad you're here with us. I enjoy our time together, and as we continue on the path of lifelong learning, because that's what we do when we show up here every week, the number one goal we hold for this show, or that would be me and the team that makes the show possible, is to add value to you, to your life as a leader and your leadership. So whenever you tune in, it's a good time, and we're glad to be here with you. We value your presence, your perspectives, and your feedback. And we hold a firm commitment to make the time, to invest time and energy to bring you relevant information, to increase your knowledge base, to take your leadership to the next level. One of the most significant lessons that I've learned on this journey of leadership is that the most effective leaders are lifelong learners. And who you learn from matters. Without dwelling on the lessons you've learned that have not been pleasant and moving you forward, think about those that have and the people that you learn from and how they pour into you. And that has a little bit to do with what we're going to talk about today. But this is also another truism, is that the more you invest in yourself by choosing to learn and expand who you are as a leader, strengthens not only your leadership, but that of the people you lead. I'm a firm believer that if you're really a leader, you're helping people to grow and develop to be great leaders, to take what you pour into them and multiply it many times over. Absolutely. The added benefit of doing that is your ability to influence people who directly and indirectly follow you, to be an influential leader. Some of those who follow you, some of the people who look at what you do and want to replicate that or want to say, wow, that's what it looks like to be in that place. Some of them, you don't even know who they are. How do I know this? Number one, because I hear it from people. And secondly, I've been doing this work for years and have had the honor and privilege to witness transformations in doing this work with more than 500 leaders, teams, and organizations, locally and globally. Continuing professional education, professional growth, and leadership development are the fuel that propels your leadership forward, along with your team. Don't you want them to move ahead alongside you, following you, becoming like seeds that get planted other places when they leave you and continue to grow and develop others? Just the thought of that is so powerful. When's the last time you heard from someone that at some time in your life of leadership, you were helping to shape who they are as contributing members to life? And to get that back, how you impacted, changed, and shaped their life that may not have even been present when they were with you. That's some of what makes it really special, because you may be thinking, oh my goodness, are they going to get it? Am I doing this right? What do I need to do differently to reach them? a positive attitude. If you are true to who you are and you're doing those things that you would hope if the tables were turned, they'd be in position doing for you, keep at it. Yeah. Along doing that will come what I call the fruits of your labor. Because how you show up, equipped and empowered to lead, is essential to your success and theirs. Think about if you didn't do the things you do, like tuning into Dr. Helen Speaks, professional development, conferences, all those things to invest in, to grow, to help you shape and refine who you are as a leader, because every leader brings their own who they are to the forefront of where they're leading. No one can do what you do better than you. And I show up here to encourage you to keep investing in yourself, to be your best self, the best leader you can be. That's really why Dr. Helen Speaks shows up here week after week, to help you do you better. Plain and simple. Whatever you take away is moving you one step closer to being the powerful leader that you are. That's evolving. We're always evolving. Let me ask you this. Do you have the opportunity to do what you do best every day? On purpose? By design, because you've created it? And you've been intentional about it. This is more than a simple yes/no question. When you think about, do you have the opportunity to do what you do best every day? And to really begin to track that. Because it's a question full of potential and possibilities to keep you thinking, growing, and moving forward to your best life ever. Doing what brings you joy, fulfillment, and meaning in life is what gives you more life. That's right. Makes you want to keep doing it. Doing what you do best, that you love doing. And if you don't believe me, hey, I'm just here to tell you. The science, the studies, the surveys, the research. I mean, I get in my inbox at least maybe daily or every couple of days, something from Gallup, some new thing they've researched globally, within the US, by industry. It's just phenomenal because it continues to measure, record, and report on the value of positive, repetitive practices, and also giving you something to look at, to consider it. I mean, I can't sit here and say it's all Pollyannish. However, I was reading earlier today about a recent study Gallup did, looking at, and this gets into that space of inclusion and culture and how they're different. But it was about foster care and adults stepping in that realm of children who, for one reason or another, have been abandoned or removed from their home. Doesn't mean they don't need help or assistance or a hand up or someone to show that they care. Really, more evidence, more data that says, this is why my leadership looks the way it does. So those positive, repetitive practices that make a difference and add value to your life and your leadership, I'm here to tell you that's the stuff that stimulates your mind and stays in the forefront of your focus, enabling you to live well while doing good. Oh, isn't that a novel idea? How do you focus on what you do best every day? By being intentional in your leadership by being present to the knowledge and wisdom that's all around you, that's been tested, tried, and true in most situations, if not all. And taking a quote from my favorite book, there's a line in there that says, "There's not a new thing under the sun." Not one. The greatest leaders who have done wonderful things to enhance and improve life and opportunities often began their own discovery with and through something or some version of something already here or has been here before. It's a new thing taking on an old thing or older thing or not of our time thing. Think of it. It's like remakes, songs, movies, things of old made new. Think about, what was it when I just had on the tip of my tongue, something that used to be done back in the day that's come around again. Oh, here you go. Vinyl albums. There was a time we thought they were gone forever. Now they've come back like this novelty, this great thing to have. And you can actually purchase albums again. In essence, we build upon what's already here in some shape, form, or fashion. What we do with the old is we deconstruct it to reconstruct it, to offer something new and relevant to appeal to the current age. I mean, there was a time when bell bottoms were like, oh, bell bottoms, who's wearing those anymore? Everything was into skinny jeans. Well, wide leg jeans are coming back. Some are belt, some are just wide from the hip down. But the point is, it's a take on something old made new. Today, our focus is on what it means to be a faith-filled leader or servant leader. Does faith fuel your leadership? It certainly fuels mine. And it drives the intention of my leadership and how I show up. Even doing what I'm doing today is so much more about you than it is me. And so I'm posing this question as a topic that really hadn't dawned on me as a specific, courageous question. And I'm going to say courageous because it's going down a path that many people like to steer clear of, to ponder. However, largely because it's how I live my life and show up with an intention to serve others, it's always in the forefront, but not in the way that it might be if it was something I weren't comfortable with or accustomed to doing and continuing to do more and more at a deeper level. Is that I've learned that I've learned that being intentional about servant leadership, about having my leadership be anchored in my faith, is where the greatest return on what I do lives as a leader. Think on that for a few moments. And before we jump in, make sure you've got something handy to capture your thoughts, questions, ideas, aha moments. A notebook, journal, tablet, smartphone, back of an envelope. They all work well, whichever your modality may be. I want you to capture them so that you can easily refer back to them and reflect on them and really spend some time with it, and not just as thoughts passing through your mind, through your head, but capture it on paper. There's something about writing. Okay, maybe it's not a paper, maybe it's a tablet, but still that motion of writing, the thoughts coming through your mind about something that you've wondered about or been challenged to give thought to, like, is your leadership fueled by faith or something else? And whichever it is, just identify what makes you show up the way you do. And you can continue to build upon it, to continue to further develop your life, your leadership, and your legacy. So we're going to talk a little bit about what it means to be a leader fueled by faith. Is one that integrates their deeply held beliefs, values, and religious or spiritual things that are not of this world per se. And you take those things that you hold near and dear that make sense for you in the world. You bring them into your leadership philosophy and practices. And when I said earlier, I really don't give much outward thought to it because it's something that's a part of who I am. I begin every day of life. Doesn't always start at the top of my day, but I will tell you 99% of the time it does, is to spend some quiet time reflecting on those truths, sacred truths that guide my life and how I show up. And so as a leader, it's not uncommon for leaders to draw inspiration, guidance, and motivation from your faith and strive to lead in a way that aligns with your religious or spiritual principles. Now, what I found fascinating about this, and in my favorite book, there's tons of information that talks about this in different ways, examples, stories, the whole nine. Just some of the characteristics of what a leader who's fueled by faith in their leadership. What are those key things that call it out? And I'm going to say number one, values and ethics. Leaders who are fueled by their faith are guided by a strong moral and ethical compass, rooted in their faith. You make decisions and set standards based on those principles that you hold near and dear that guide your life, that you might say you hang your reputation on, often emphasizing honesty, integrity, compassion, and empathy. Oh, I mean, just the thought of those words. When I think about the leaders I've worked under, those that I admire and feel honored that this is someone I get to learn from. Yeah. Ooh, gives me goosebumps. Number two, inspiration. As a leader, when your faith provides you with a source of inspiration and motivation, it helps you navigate challenges and setbacks. It makes you resilient in a way that it's not about being cocky, but it's about surviving and not just getting through the crisis or the challenge or the setback, but to get through it and be stronger, better equipped and prepared to move forward. I've had leaders share stories and teachings from their faith traditions that they've used in their work to motivate and inspire others without calling it out for what it is. Oh, this is from the Bible, or this is from the Quran, or this is from the ancient writings of Buddha. I don't know. It's not for me to determine what that is for you. But that piece of something that you hold in high esteem and value in your life, that's why I call it faith. The evidence of things hoped for, no, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That's right. It lives out, for lack of a better term, but to give you some kind of visual in the ethers. You don't actually see it, but you feel it, you know it to be true. And for me, it all goes back to love and appreciating, which brings us up to service and selflessness. Or I like to say self-fullness, a new word coined recently that's about not being selfish, and not being full of self. And when you combine the two, you're at a place where you understand the value of taking care of you while still pouring into others. Faith-filled leaders often emphasize their leadership is marked by how they serve others over themselves. And when I say over themselves, I don't mean to the point of neglect, not full of self or selfish, but to a point where you're really taking them to a whole nother level. It's an emphasis on selflessness as like a central tenet of your leadership, that it's not about me or you, it's about the people that you serve. Leaders who operate from that framework really see leadership as an opportunity to serve and make a positive impact on the lives of those that you lead. Tell me this. Do you admire working for someone that clearly demonstrates they don't value or appreciate what you bring? Or someone that's interested in your ideas and thoughts and how you move forward as a team? Yeah. Which brings up point number 4, being inclusive. Leaders who are fueled by faith strive to create a sense of belonging in a diverse environment where people from all types of backgrounds and beliefs and abilities are respected and valued for what they add as part of the team. Because clearly it doesn't happen if you aren't doing it all together. It can happen, but not as good as it does when you're all on the same team together. It promotes unity and cooperation when you can really be in that space of service. Which brings up humility. No need to be a cocky leader. It's pretty much a trait, though, of leaders who are fueled by their faith. Yeah. It's like doing what you do conscious of the limitations. That says there are times you go out and seek guidance from that community that holds you up. Your faith community. It could be a community that is high in ethics and virtues that are good, that you have difficulty finding fault with. When you're faced with challenging decisions, you want to go to that space, that place, that anchor that keeps you humble so you don't stumble along the way of serving others. Number 6, steadfastness. Faith-filled leaders tend to be unwavering in their commitment to their values and beliefs. And if your values and beliefs are open and allowing people to be who they are in a good way, not the tyrant that comes in every day and makes everybody feel like, why are we back in the office? Only kidding. You know what I'm talking about, though. And so you want to be steadfast, immovable in what you believe in terms of the commitment to your values and beliefs that you know. I always say they're anchored in love. I just believe, and in my life, it's been shown that love is truly the greatest force on this planet. I know some will say, but look at all the wars going on right now. Yes, they're going on, but they're going on not they're going on, and it's a demonstration of leaders whose leadership is not fueled by faith. There are those who are fighting it because there is, but those that lead the attack on peaceful people simply attempting to live life. If we can't agree to disagree without being disagreeable and find compromise, maybe that's the place where we end up, like the world is today. I don't know, just a thought. I'm just a thought. To be steadfast in what you believe, holding to universal truths and values, help you maintain your integrity, to make solid, principled decisions, even when they're unpopular in the face of adversity. But recognition of your leadership style can manifest in several ways. In alignment with your core values, you're recognized for your consistency in aligning your actions and decisions with the core values of what you believe in. And this alignment can be observed through your ethical conduct. That's a word for today that is certainly under attack. And your commitment to social and moral causes. If we don't care for the least of these among us, how can we ever expect to really reach the heights that we aspire to? Because the poor will always be here as that conscious reminder that we have a deeper duty in what we do. Your inspirational influence. When your leadership is fueled by your faith, you want to share it. You want to inspire others, not to take up your faith, but to be encouraged and inspired to be the best that they can be. Oh, even the thought of that gets me giddy. And then there's respect and trust. You give what you get. If you want respect, you give respect. If you want people to trust you, trust people. Let them prove that they're untrustworthy. It's not your place to take up the position of, I don't trust them. Be daring. Be bold, be brave, and be kind when you do it. The fourth thing is a contribution to your community. Are you really there to help serve your community? Do you do it with a servant's heart? So when you talk about servant leadership, there are a lot of things that come into play. And we're going to talk about the difference in a leadership fueled by faith, a faith-filled leader, and a servant leader, because they're not synonymous. They're similar, but they're not synonymous. And it's important to understand the two. It really is. And we're going to talk about it on our next show. But this I do know, when you commit time for regular reflection on the truths you hold that shape your leadership, your language, and how you serve, it makes a difference. It's a deeper growth move for you, and it'll drive you that much closer to experiencing greater alignment of your vision and how you communicate it with greater impact to your team and your organization. This is a proven path to achieve what you set out to accomplish in your life. And I'm here because time won't change you as a leader, will. And as you develop a more conscious relationship with time and your core values and beliefs, great things are going to happen. And you'll be the better for it. So, it isn't a fluke. The longer you live, the wiser you become. It's not a fluke. It's a function of your experiences over time that reveal new insights. It is a concise, relatable way to connect to life, more with a desire to serve beyond your personal gains. It's about your legacy that will live on through the lives you touch, and the lives they touch, and the lives they touch. Because everything rises and falls on the shoulders of leaders just like you. Leaders drive visions. Your ability to lead effectively with intention is a choice, and it's a conscious choice, influenced by who you, as a leader, choose to show up as. I'm Dr. Helen Holton, your host of Dr. Helen Speaks, Strengths, Resilience, and Leadership. And we're here every week to pour into you because you matter. And we serve you to be the best leader that you can be in this world. See you next week.